Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Lone Coat Mafia podcast. It is I, the Reverend Godfather, the show's main host and frontman. This week we are going to discuss the kind of geek explosion of geekiness that happened this past weekend, in a way. And a lot of things to go over with. One of the things that happened earlier this month, May 1st, it was the Borderlands gameplay review. We'll get to that in a little later, but excuse me, a lot of other things did happen this weekend, and especially yesterday, May the 4th. We saw three things happen in geekdom. The first thing that happened was Wizards of the Coast, who put out Magic the Gathering, put out a new set for Magic the Gathering. I forgot what its name, I should have written it down, but I digress. I haven't been playing Magic the Gathering as much as I should. So, that being said, for those of you out there who do, please enlighten me in regards to how the new set is, how it's handling, if you're using the new set. You can email us at lonecoatmafia@gmail.com or put a comment down below on our initial posting on Facebook or YouTube, and just let us know how you're enjoying this new set. Is it working out for you? Are there good cards? Or did Wizard of the Coast put out crappy cards all in all? Are they crappy made? So, please let us know in regards to that. And again, I haven't been really playing Magic the Gathering that much because a lot of the friends that I do know that play haven't been, as far as I know, haven't been getting together to play as much. So that's a very sad thing. And the next kind of thing that kind of happened simultaneously this past Saturday was it was Star Wars Day, and aka May the 4th. And for those of you who are not really Star Wars fans, May the 4th, or to the Star Wars fans, May the 4th be with you, or Star Wars Day. It's a day that Star Wars fans can kind of bury the hatchet for a little while and celebrate their fandom, which is Star Wars. Now, I'm saying that as well to kind of say that what also happened was Free Comic Book Day. Now, I'm kind of saying both of those together and trying to, instead of separating them, for right now, it's because a lot of comic book shops who are participating in Free Comic Book Day were also holding Star Wars Day events in their shops too. Now, again, for those of you who are not really Star Wars fans, or other than the recent movies, not familiar with that, again, it's a way of Star Wars fans to get together and celebrate their fandom. A lot of events happened that places that strictly had Star Wars Day stuff, but most of the shops, to help bring in more people, had Star Wars Day events held in their shops, which is a good thing because a lot of shops who used to complain about Free Comic Book Day, because it is kind of an expense, because we're kind of witnessing it firsthand myself in recent years. A lot of folks just came in, got their free comics, and up and left. Now, and I don't know how things have changed this year. I haven't heard any of shops really whining or complaining about Free Comic Book Day, because it's hard to say why. But from what I saw, there was a lot more shops in my feed, and folks that in my personal feed were sharing great experiences at their local shop from all across the country in regards to what was happening. So it seemed like there were large crowds everywhere, for the exception of your hobby place in Martinsburg, West Virginia. It seemed that Four Color Fantasy had a bigger crowd than your hobby place. It seemed like Second and Charles in Hagerstown had a bigger crowd than your hobby place. Your hobby place barely had a dozen people in it. That's excluding myself and the folks in the back from the 501st and the 4 people playing Magic the Gathering, and the employees. On that, there was maybe about a dozen people there, if not less. I can't vouch for how many more people came in later that day, but from the time that I was there, maybe only a dozen people were showed up and were getting their free comics, and it seemed like most of them were. A sizable percentage were just leaving. Now, your hobby place did have not just 501st there and starting to bring in more people in regards to it, but the fact of the matter is there might have been more people last night at the Magic the Gathering event that they had, because again, new release. Now, I don't know how many people I should have asked, but it's kind of hard to... the guy was kind of, I won't say running around like a chicken with his head cut off, but he was trying to maintain everything because he had 2 or 3 more events going on at the same time and trying to be a cashier and help other customers that were really interested in getting other stuff that they needed for their tabletop gaming or some of the comic purchases that was going on. And I must say, we picked up a few pins. We picked up a few of the comics that were there. I want to say that we picked up maybe like 6 or 8. There wasn't really a limit. But again, it was a light turnout. It was hard to say if the light turnout was because it was kind of rainy this weekend. But some people would say that they were going to Second and Charles for their CharlieCon event, which was at 3 p.m. this past Saturday. Sadly, I didn't get a chance to go, but a few people that we know from a show standpoint went, and it appeared that they had a great time, and there was a great crowd out there. Even, like I said, Four Color Fantasies in Winchester, Virginia had a large crowd go to their establishment, despite the fact that this weekend was also Apple Blossom Weekend. And for those of you who listen to us across the country and are not familiar with Apple Blossom Weekend, it's just a very large event, as stated many times before on our program. It's a very large event. Several thousand people tend to show up during the week for parades, the carnival, the kind of carnival games that happen in the downtown area, and there's also a carnival that happens during this event too. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and like thousands of people show up. Now, mind you, a lot of folks will tell you that who live in Winchester, they get kind of tired of it, but when they have company over, they don't mind partaking in the event for every now and again. So that's what's happening. So it's kind of hard to say whether it affected for Free Comic Book Day in the area, but it kind of, I could say, well, some might argue the fact that it affected your hobby place, but if it didn't affect Four Color Fantasy, why not? But I want to say that Martinsburg itself, they want these events to happen, but they don't want to attend these events for whatever reason. But we did get one person kind of message us on Instagram because we posted up photos of Free Comic Book Day, and that person was like, I didn't know we had a comic book shop or a movie theater in Martinsburg. I'm kind of new to the area. So I was able to help this person out. I don't know if it's a he or she, but either way, I managed to help this person out and tell them that yes, this is where it's located. The theater is also located in this area, pretty much the same location, maybe not even 600 feet away. So, and I told this person that the local library is having a pop culture show this end of June. So that's that, and they were grateful for the information. Whether or not they go to the comic shop or the local theater, that's up to them. But it is nice to know that someone is reaching out in regards to events like this. So, what else? Like I said, the library tried to have a Star Wars Day event, but it looks like the 501st chose to go to your hobby place over the library, because the library said, we're going to have the 501st here. They weren't there. They were at the your hobby place instead of the library, or they were down at the Four Color Fantasies. But I don't know about that. For those of you out there who listened to us and went to Four Color Fantasies, let us know if the 501st was there in uniform. But yeah, like I said, they held the event, but they didn't really participate. They were participating in Star Wars Day, but no one showed up. The only people that were kind of quizzical about it were those who just wandered in on the street. But let me just say this: the library that tries to have these events without knowing that Facebook, when you do an event, Facebook buries it. Literally, unless it's shared constantly, it buries the post. That's why we try to do user engagement from a show standpoint and ask you to even on YouTube for the likes, to comment, to share, because YouTube and Facebook just in order to get your post more active in their algorithms, you either have to shovel thousands upon thousands of money in it, which a lot of podcasters do not have, or YouTubers do not have, or just try to grind that way. It's sad, but a lot of other folks that are in control in regards to the library, they might not know this or don't care. But that's the issue that we have around town, that a lot of folks just don't care about the events. They don't show up. And it's just that self-depreciating cycle in regards to things. That's why I'm a one-man army Martinsburg back to life and bring things up. But it was just weird. It was sad to see that there are events that no one wants to go to, no one wants to show up, but they try. Case in point, this weekend there was a Civil War. Also, it was happening Saturday, May the 4th, and Sunday, May the 5th. What they were doing was a Civil War reenactment, because here in Martinsburg, apparently a large raid happened at the Roundhouse, where our train station is. There's a big historical building that was erected. It was a train roundhouse, which kind of turns trains around, or say locomotives around. And it was built during, if not before the Civil War, during the Civil War, and it was kind of destroyed, rebuilt again, and kind of, it's very historical. They were having kind of a reenactment there, and they have kind of like a little bit of a event for those who are American history enthusiasts. I'll say it like that. And we did do a walking tour. I went to check it out thinking that maybe we could do a walking tour. This is what I was alluding to a little while ago. And turns out it was a $5 event, but considering this week a lot of stuff had to happen, I had to pay a lot of bills, I didn't really have the $5 for this event, so I went on my merry way. And when I did arrive it was maybe at the tail end of this event. And I want to give a shout out to the guy that runs, I think his name is Nick or Nicholas or something like that. He's the director of the Roundhouse now, and as I'm leaving, he's like, "Hey, you!" He's like real shy. He's like, "What I do?" He's like, "I've seen you, walk around town." It's like, I told him, it's like, "Yeah, I was here, kind of, back last year for Paracon to help cover it." He said, "You were here?" It's like, "Yeah." I told him who I was. He says, "Come on in, don't worry about it. I'll ice it over. Don't worry about it." And he kind of liked what we did, so I did kind of a little bit of a walking tour of the event, and did spoke with two vendors there, people that were there, and he, like I said, Nick was a shout out and kudos to him. Like I said, I didn't want to feel entitled in regards to doing this or anything like that, so And I told him, like, if I had the $5, I would have been more than happy to pay the ticket price to go in. I don't want him to constantly feel that he's got to grant us permission. And because it's the same thing that we've done with 4-State in the past, that if we can't be there as vendors and promote, we'll be there as ticket holders and cover from that angle. And that way, the 4-State still gets supported in some way. Sorry, rented lips. I'm tired. It's been a long weekend. So, and he understood, and he said, hey, no matter what, if you get the word out, everything that you do, if you talk about us, talk about the Roundhouse, or you put the video up to show how the Roundhouse is and what's going on, it helps us. And I appreciate that, he and his enthusiasm. Big shout out to the guy. This is the second time he's done this for not just me, but for the show. So I have to give him that shout out, and we'll try our best as the weeks go on to, if there's events there, maybe attend a few events if we have the cash payout admission, and kind of spread the word in regards to what's going on. I think they're having a craft show later this next month or so, and they're having a car show there, and so there's other events they're trying to. I think we might have said that in the past that they've told us at the those who are in charge of it have stated that those who were in charge of the Roundhouse before them kind of gave the Roundhouse a very bad reputation, and they're trying to dig themselves out of this hole, and it's a very tough process. And again, Martinsburg is not the best places for events because most folks don't want to go, because there are things that I don't want to cover here, that it'll be a personal rant, and I don't want to bring that type of rant in on the show, even though I could, and I'd probably get away with it, but I want to save that type of rant if by chance anybody that's on the city council wants to step up and be on the show. I'd be more than happy to have you on to see why you hate us. That's right, I'd be more than happy to have you on the show and see what your issues are. But that's a different thing for a different day, but not today. We're here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about Free Comic Book Day. And like I said, we heard one complaint. It was from one person in regards to Second and Charles. Now, Second and Charles is not a mom and pop shop. They're a corporate type of bookstore that handles like comic books and back issues and stuff like that. What their gripe was that they didn't really have. They were saving their free comics for their event at 3. Now, this is a corporate decision, not a store decision, meaning a place like your hobby place or Four Color, as soon as their doors open, the event starts. Now, a place like Second and Charles, they can start anytime they want, giving things out. It could be later in the day, it could be next week, or what have you. It is their choice. Now, the sad point is, a company like Second and Charles, if they choose to participate in Free Comic Book Day, they could spend all the money in the world, store-wise, to get every comic book that Free Comic Book Day offers. Now, if memory serves, Free Comic Book Day has several tiers to them. I'm not familiar if they were still continuing that, but the higher tier was like those platinum tier or the ultimate platinum tier or something like that. You could get toys, keychains, and the whatnot. It was like a plethora. A company like Second and Charles can do that easily, whereas stores such as Four Color Fantasy, they have to stick with maybe a very lower tier. But I'm sure there's other stores or mom and pop stores like Midtown Mile High Comics. That's the one I was thinking of. Mile High Comics could probably shell out enough money for Free Comic Book Day and give out all the perks. While, again, a place like Four Color Fantasies can't really do that. They can only go with the lower level. Now, I also heard that there were some stores, for whatever reason, not listed. And here's the thing. I don't know why. It could be the fact that they didn't, even though they purchased the comics for Free Comic Book Day, they didn't register on the site for it. Or for whatever reason, they could not qualify. Meaning a place like your hobby place, because it's mostly tabletop gaming and RC cars than comic books. Maybe Free Comic Book Day decided you can't really be a part of it for whatever reason. And the reason why I say that is because there's a store in Winchester, I believe it is Back to the Media, and they were having a good time at Apple Blossom this weekend and trying to bring in people to their show. But back to the point. Back to the Media tried to apply as a store for Record Store Day. Now, I might say this, even though Back to the Media has, they're primarily from what I heard, a retro gaming shop, even though they might sell used games. I'm not just talking about old Nintendo games. I'm talking about used Xbox games and PS4 games and so forth and so on. But they also sell records, vinyl. And they put out a message on Facebook saying that they not just meet, they kind of go past the requirement to meet for the aspect of Free Record Store Day. But for whatever reason, Record Store Day hates Back to the Media. Because I guess Record Store, the folks that put out the promotions for Record Store Day, just see Back to the Media as a retro gaming shop, not a record shop. And it's one of those things that we at our show, Long Coat Mafia Podcast, can kind of understand. But that's the problem. Again, this weekend was a very rainy weekend, but I'm sure there was a great turnout for Apple Blossom. There was a lot of great turnouts across the country where the weather was warm. I can't speak for where the weather was cold, but again, those who went to CharlieCon, I believe I said it's been a long, confusing weekend. They had a great time for that. What else? Again, special thanks to those at the Roundhouse. So we have 2 videos up. I did put up one video that should have been released in April. Finally got around to putting it up this week, along with our Roundhouse thing that we got this weekend. We're still working on our video from Don Ramirez, but I have to get some of the footage off one of our cameras, which is better footage. I need to get a cable for the camera because the camera doesn't want to save the stuff to the memory card. It saves it on the camera. You son of a mother pucket. But I digress. Let's talk about Borderlands 3 for a moment. Now, we saw the release for Borderlands 3, and a lot of folks who have touched the demo love it. And from what I've seen, there's a lot of new interesting perks to it. Like there's a slide ability, and there's a kind of like a parkour type of ability, meaning that if a ledge is within reach, you're able to jump to it and pull yourself up. And there's other great additions to it. I can't wait to get this game myself and play it and tell you guys and gals what my thoughts are on this game. And apparently there may be microtransactions in this, but from what I've heard, it's not going to be the microtransactions that are going to be available are not key related, meaning for those of you out there that signed up for the golden keys or shift codes for golden keys, you will not have to pay for additional golden keys. They will be free for everybody. The microtransaction is that they might release new outfits, maybe let's say a holiday outfit for Christmas or Halloween or something like that, or Valentine's Day. Stuff like that might be $3 or $4. or additional characters or what have you. It's stuff that they've done in the past. That you want another character or character or two here for $5. It's always been roughly $5, which is not bad, and this is going to be great. I think one reviewer said they got a chance to play the demo, tried to break the game, and they couldn't. So, and not to mention, they said that when they've gotten a weapon with the same name as someone sitting next to them, it had different stats. So there was no way you could get the exact same gun as the next person. So, again, can't wait to see this game, can't wait to play it, can't wait to fiddle with it, and see how it plays. I can't wait. And the thing is, this game probably will break records. It's going to be that game that shows up Destiny once again, and I think a lot of folks have made the comment in regards to Destiny will have to either put out its DLC early or after Borderlands. More than likely sometime after Borderlands, because there are way too many people that are probably pre-ordering this right now. And to kind of continue on, I've been hearing that this weekend, I'm going to pull it up. I heard that this weekend Endgame passed the $2 billion mark. I want to see how much it has gross this weekend. I am pulling up Box Office Mojo. No, I don't have it on my... Let's see here. Box Office Mojo. And that is... let's see here. Daily Weekend. And let's see here. This weekend through the 5th. The number one slot was Endgame at $145 million this weekend. And the grand total for gross for Endgame domestically is $619 million. That's domestically. I think it's another $1.4 billion worldwide. So it's the grand total of over $2 billion. Not too much. The other ones are just severely that came out this week are just taking up second, third, and fourth place, and they're not even touching Endgame at all. And that might be like that until probably John Wick, which could be the next one that comes anywhere remotely close. And I can't wait for John Wick 3. I might actually wander up and see that in the theaters when it comes out. But that seems to be about it. Yeah, it's a short episode this week. And again, I'm sad that the library couldn't really do a decent Star Wars Day event. But I digress. It's a lot of small crap that happens. Even though we have our table for their pop culture show in June, which is June 22nd, or is it 7 days later? I know the end of June we have the 1 week is the pop culture show, then it's the Bigfoot convention. It's first one, then the other. I have to get back to you guys in regards to that. And then we have in July we have the 4-state punk rock flea market, which is in town. And what's happening the rest of this May, I have no clue. If something is happening, I'll be pleasantly surprised. And we'll see what's going on. And who knows what's going to happen this May. And I know this June's going to be busy. I'm going to be pulling out my hair. But I can't wait to know what's happening over the next month and a half in regards to a lot of geeky stuff. I do know Halo Reach is coming out for the Master Chief Collection, probably as a DLC, over the next month or two. I can't wait for that, but I'll be extremely pissed because I know all the maps I made way back in the day will not be transferring over, you bastards. But there's a lot of stuff that's coming out. It seems like I'm picking up a lot of retro games that I've enjoyed instead of new games, and the only new game that I'll be picking up will be Borderlands 3 this year. But again, can't wait. What else? That seems to be about it. I have been playing a little bit more on Mixer, and hopefully I'll switch over to Twitch and play more or stream more on that. I've adjusted our settings on both accounts. That way, if you miss a stream or I neglect to let everybody know that I have been streaming, you could always check back in on the channels there and see us streaming there. I know the fact that to let everybody know, our Mixer stream channel is mixer.com/LCMP, and the letters are capitalized, so it's the links will be in the description. And our Twitter channel is twitter.tv/longcoatmafiapod. So, and hopefully there's going to be a few streams saved in our archives, so you folks at home are at least able to at least see us stream. And we have been streaming Borderlands over the past couple times, at least on Mixer. And that seems to be about it. This was relatively a slow week. Oh yeah, I forgot. If I didn't mention it, yes, sadly, Peter Mayhew did pass away. The reason why I'm saying this now is because I forgot, and I have as always with our show ADD. We did meet Peter Mayhew. He passed away like Friday, late Friday night, Thursday, Friday, and God rest his soul. He was we met him many years ago. He was a very laid back soul, and one convention out west, I think it was like Dallas or something like that he was supposed to appear at. They set up like a memorial, not very nice memorial for him with flowers, and there was like a R2 unit staged out right in front of the booth. So it was very beautiful, very respectful. So that's that. And that's about it. If you wish to share your Star Wars Day or Free Comic Book Day event or stories, please send them to us at longcoatmafia@gmail.com, or send us a message on Facebook, which our Facebook page is facebook.com/The Longcoat Mafia Podcast. We might be promoting our Facebook group soon, because it turns out that Facebook is pushing Facebook groups for whatever reason now. So we might be doing that shortly. And what else? Our Twitter, or you can send us a DM on Twitter or Instagram. The handles for both are Longcoat Mafia. Again, our email is always longcoatmafia@gmail.com. Our main website is thelongcoatmafia@gmail.com. While you're there, you can download any episode or stream any episode going back to our very first episode, which was a cringe fest. And if you go back that far, you can hear our wonderful female co-host that we had at the time, Zombie Bunny. We do miss her at the show. We hope one day she does return for maybe a episode or two. The door is always open for her. What else? If you want to listen to us on the go, we are available on Stitcher. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean App. As many people don't like the Podbean App, it's probably more reliable than Apple Podcasts, especially how Apple is kind of changing things seemingly hourly in regards to how we have to name our podcasts, like mine or other podcasters out there have to adjust their titles and what they can add, what they can't add, what they're including. That's why we let you know that we are available on all platforms. But if you listen to us on a desktop, you can get us on Stitcher, on Spotify. Plus, you can get us as always on iTunes. But please bookmark our main website at which is thelonecoatmafia@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed this quick broadcast. And again, special shout out to the director of the Roundhouse, who allowed us to come and give us a walking tour. So that's that. I hope all of you had a wonderful Star Wars Day or Free Comic Book Day, or both. Again, please send us your tales if you went to your comic book shop and partaked in either or. Especially if you're a Magic the Gathering player, please let us know about Magic the Gathering, what you're enjoying about the new set, or what have you. So feel free. And for those of you who are listening to the show for the first time and want us to cover something completely different, we do accept. Let us know what you think we should cover, because we think the term geek applies to everyone that has a particular interest, whether it be movies, books, knitting. I've told people I'll talk knitting if you're really that geeky in it, because there is a lot of stuff to talk about knitting. Needle gauges, American versus maybe Indian dyes or Japanese dyes, the threads and yarn and so forth and so on. It can get involved. It can be very geeky to some, and not to mention sports are geeky to some. Cars can be geeky to some. So if you think you could, if you're worried that, or you feel put off that we keep talking about pop culture in regards to Star Wars, Star Trek, and comic books, fear not. Just email us, message us, and we'd be more than happy to probably have you on the air to talk about what is your geek. So that's it. I'm going to head on off now and probably stream some more Borderlands and do other stuff. So take care. I'm out. Stay tuned to next week for when we cover who knows what. So, till then, I'll speak to you guys and gals next time.
You've been listening to the Longcoat Mafia Podcast, the internet's most hated and mafia-themed geek podcast.